Hello, it's Lisa. How are you? That's good. And I'm here with lesson 39 of my B1 intermediate course for people with an IELTS score of between 4 and 4.5. Okay, what's today's topic and grammar focus? It is a grammar lesson today. It's the context is when you have a surprise meeting between two friends. Yep. And the grammar is from direct to reported speech. So we'll look at changes we make when we report what someone has said, and we'll look at changes in tenses and pronouns and word order in reported questions. Okay? Let's have a look at the first task together. This is Sarah, she's the blonde, and Liz is the lady with the dark hair. Sarah and Liz used to work together. They haven't seen each other for a few years. Last week they met by chance. What kind of questions do you think they asked each other? Write down 3 to 5 ideas. Read task 1 to see if you were right. Stop the slide now if you need more time. If not, check your questions. Here comes task 1. Okay, so Sarah is the lady with the blonde hair and Liz is the lady with the dark hair. S is Sarah and L is Liz. Liz, nice to see you. How are you? Hi, Sarah. I'm fine, thanks. And you? Really well. I haven't seen you for ages. What have you been up to? Quite a lot, actually. I'm married and I've got 2 children. That's wonderful. And you? Are you still working for British Airways? Yes, but I don't do long haul flights anymore. I want to be here for my kids. I have to go now, but I'd love to catch up. Can I give you my number? Yeah, I'll put it in my phone. Shall I call you next week? How many questions did you predict? For example, when people meet, they often say, "Hi, how are you?" don't they? And if it's a long time since you saw the person, then you'd say, "How are you? What have you been doing? What have you been up to?" Yeah. Are you still working for or are you still living in for example? Can I give you my number? Can I give you my email? Can I call you? They're all quite common things you would hear if you heard people who met by chance, who had a surprise meeting. Yeah? Okay, keep that conversation in your mind for task 2. Let's look at task 2. Okay, so imagine now Sarah goes home and Liz goes home and they tell their husbands about their day and they report their conversation that they had with each other. Okay, so Sarah, what she said, and Liz, what she said, right? Here we've got the conversation. How do we report it? Yeah, choose the correct form. So in bold and in italics, you have to choose between the 2 forms. Here we go. Number 1. Sarah asked Liz how she was, or how was she? 2. Sarah also wanted to know if Liz had been up to, or what Liz had been up to. 3. Liz said Sarah, or Liz said to Sarah, she was married and had got 2 children. Number 4. Liz wanted to know whether Sarah is still working or was still working for British Airways. 5. Sarah told to Liz, or Sarah told Liz she didn't do long-haul flights anymore. And number 6. Sarah also said she wanted to be here or there for her kids. Can you choose the correct forms? Stop the slide if you don't want the answers. Oh no, there's more. Sorry, there's 7, 8 and 9 and 10, I think. Let's have a look. Let's go. It continues. Yes, sorry. Here we are. There's more. Number 7. Liz said she had to go, but she would love, or she would have loved, to catch up. 8. Liz asked if she can or she could give Sarah her phone number. Number 9. Sarah said she will or she would put it in her phone. And finally, number 10. Sarah wanted to know if she could call Liz next or the following week. Okay, so this is reported speech. What changes do we need to make? What rules can you see? So if we've got something in the present simple, what happens in reported speech? Yeah. If we've got something in the present perfect, what happens? Can you work out any rules? What happens to I and you? Yeah. What happens to here? What happens to next? Some time phrases in there. Okay, shall we have a look at the rules? Sorry, first of all, we need to look at the answers. Here we go. Sarah asked Liz how she was. It's been a long day. Number 2, Sarah also wanted to know what Liz had been up to. Number 3, Liz said to Sarah she was married and had got 2 children. Number 4, Liz wanted to know whether Sarah was still working for British Airways. Number 5, Sarah told Liz, not told to Liz, Sarah told Liz that she didn't do long-haul flights anymore. Number 6, Sarah also said she wanted to be there for her kids, not here. She's reporting it. She wanted to be there for her kids. Okay. What about 7, 8, 9, 10? Here we go. Liz said she had to go, but she would love to catch up. Liz asked if she could give Sarah her phone number, number 8. Number 9, Sarah said she would put it in her phone. And number 10, Sarah wanted to know if she could call Liz the following week. Now's your time to see if you can work out any rules about tense changes in reported speech and word order in reported questions. What do you notice? Go back, go back to the conversation between Sarah and Liz in task 1, and then look at the task 2 answers and see if you can work out any rules. Or you can look at what I've done here for you. Okay, so the direct speech, when it's present simple, we say I'm married, and these are the inverted commas that show it's direct speech, yeah? And what happens? So in reported speech, we can say she said to me that, or she said, or we can use she told me that. Okay, so we need the verbs said or told me or told you or told him or her. Okay, here we go. I'm married becomes she said she was married. Present simple goes to past simple. So there's a move back in tense. Present continuous. I'm still working for British Airways, BA, goes to past continuous. She said she was still working for British Airways. Present perfect, I haven't seen you for ages, becomes the past perfect. She said she hadn't seen me for ages. Past simple, I changed job last year, also becomes the past perfect, one shift back in time. Yep. She said she had changed. She said she'd changed job the year before. So last year changes to the year before. It goes further back. I can give you my number. Can goes to could. She said she could give me her phone number. And will, I'll put your number in my phone. I'll put your number in my phone becomes would. She said she would put my number in her phone. Okay, if you wanted to use told in those sentences, you'd have to say, she told me she was married. She told me she was still working for BA. She told me she hadn't seen me for ages, etc. So there's a different structure there. She said she was married. She said to me that she was married. Both are correct. She told me she was married, or she told me that she was married. Both are correct. Okay, but there's no told to me, and there's no said to me. Okay, note that, please. So we've got the said and told constructions. We've got the tense move back in time, and we've got time changes. So like yesterday would become the day before, last year, the year before. Okay, things like that. Can and could, will and would. If you've got something that's already, like would doesn't change, might doesn't change, should doesn't change, okay? But we'll look at those in a minute. That's language focus 1, so that's the shift in direct speech. What about question forms? Yeah, let's look at what happens with question forms. So, are you still working for BA, for British Airways? Are you still working for BA? Becomes, she asked me if I was still working for BA. So, 2 things to report there. She asked me if, and then you have normal word order. She asked me if I was still working for BA. There is no verb inversion. There's no auxiliary subject inversion. So it's not she asked me if was I still working. Okay. She asked me if I was still working for BA. And it's not she asked to me. She asked me if. You can also say she asked me whether I was still working for British Airways. Both are correct. Shall I call you next week? She wanted to know whether, or she wanted to know if she should call me the following week. Gosh, there's a lot going on in that question. Shall I becomes should. The next week becomes the following week. Question can be she asked me or she wanted to know. And then we've got the if or whether. She wanted to know whether she should call me the following week. She asked me if she should call me the following week. Okay? Can I call you next week? Becomes she asked me whether she could call me the following week. Yep. How are you? Becomes she asked me how I was. Okay, what do you notice here? So, are you, shall I, can I, are direct questions, starting directly with the auxiliary. But in how are you and what have you been up to, there is a question word. How, what, why, which, okay, that kind of thing. They remain in the reported question. She asked me how I was, but the word order isn't inverted. So it's not she asked me how was I, normal word order. She asked me how I was. And if you look, there's no question marks here. When we're reporting a question, we don't use a question mark, okay? The question mark is in the direct. How are you? She asked me how I was. What have you been up to? She asked me what I had been up to. She asked me what I'd been up to. My little note bene at the bottom, would, could, should and might do not change in reported speech or reported questions. Okay. So those language focus stage, there's quite a lot of information in that table. Okay, so you might take your own notes or look in a grammar reference book to help you, perhaps if you need extra practice with those. Okay, let's have some practice now, however. Let's look at task 3. Here I am. Okay, what have we got to do in task 3? We've got to put the words in the correct order to make reported questions. The first word has been done for you. So look at number 1. My was me, manager, why late, asked I. Can you make a reported question from that? Let's do number 1 together so you know what to do. My was me, manager, why late, asked I. Becomes my, start with the first word, that's fine. My manager asked me why I was late. My manager asked me why I was late. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. It's quite a difficult task. It will take some time. So stop the slide here. Take a pen and paper and try and write them down. Okay. Number 2, she, us, party were, if we going, the 2 asked. Yeah. Number 3, he had her, if asked, she, London, been, ever to. Number 4, my friend, how no, was, wanted, I to. Number 5, I, him, whether, didn't, was, ask, he, married. And finally, number 6, they, teaching, I, about, wanted, liked, no, to what? Okay, stop the slide there. Can you work out the order of the reported questions? Hopefully, the next slide is the answers. Phew! So number 1 we've done together, haven't we? My manager asked me why I was late. Number 2, she asked us if we were going to the party. Did you get it? Number 3, he asked her if she'd ever been to London. He asked her if she had ever been to London. Number 4, my friend wanted to know how I was. Number 5, I didn't ask him whether he was married. And number 6, they wanted to know what I liked about teaching. So many things I like about teaching. Okay, did you get those? Of course you did. Let's look at the final task now. Okay, the sentences below are all examples of reported speech. However, They are all incorrect because a word is missing. Can you correct them? So I've done the first one for you so you know what to do. Number 1, she told that she was married. Should be she told me that she was married. So me is the missing word. Okay. Number 2, she said she was still working for British Airways. Sorry, she said me she was still working for British Airways. Number 3, I asked her she had any children. Number 4, she didn't me how I was. Number 5, she said she loved to meet up soon. Number 6, she wanted to know whether she call me the following week. Number 7, she said she going to change her job. And number 8, he said he found a new job abroad. So quite a few of those sentences are what we've done from task 1 with Liz and Sarah, and the 2 bottom ones, 7 and 8, are new. Do you know what the missing words are? Pause the slide here if you need more time to think. If not, here come the answers. She told me she was married. She said to me she was still working for British Airways. You can say she said she was still working. Okay, but if you use me, we need she said to me. Number 3, I asked her if or whether she had any children. Number 4, she didn't ask me how I was. Number 5, she said she would love to meet up soon. Yeah. I'd love to meet up soon. She said she would love to meet up soon. Number 6, she wanted to know whether she could call me the following week. Number 7, she said she was going to change her job. That going to form always needs an auxiliary. And finally, number 8, he said he had found a new job abroad. Okay. That's the end of lesson 39 on reported speech. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon, hopefully. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye now.